Hi guys, it's Amy with Aim to Plan, and I am here to talk about Frankenplanning. So I'm kind of teasing you with the title here, but I wanted to hop on and basically give you my best tip for Frankenplanning. And so I decided to pull out basically two sets of planners here. These are current planners that I bought on clearance. And so I have right here this monthly layout planner. And I'll just show it to you really quickly just so you can see it. So it looks like this. Again, this is the monthly layout from the Happy Planner. And it has like task lists and then a note sheet right here. Sorry, right? A note sheet. Like I don't want to get it out of order. And then I also have this food layout. This will be a little bit easier because it's on the right hand side, but this is what this one looks like. There's kind of a beginning page and then it goes into weekly pages. And so the weekly pages all look the same. Right, and this is the back right here. Okay, the layout itself doesn't really matter, but I did want to show it to you just so you can see it. But I wanted to talk today about my favorite kind of like trick for Frankenplanning. Now, if you don't know what Frankenplanning is where you take multiple planners and combine them into one. And so this is your chance to use several planners to section out the different parts of your life and be able to use multiple planners. And in the grand scheme of it, the whole purpose of Frankenplanning is to be able to maximize, or at least for me it is to maximize the use of all of my supplies in a way that makes sense, where I feel like I'm not being wasteful with anything, but that is also still very functional and purposeful, and that, you know, like I have acknowledged and recognized that there are certain things that Frankenplanning doesn't do super well, but I've adapted some of those things, right? So with all that being said, telling you a little bit about Frankenplanning and like showing you these dividers, what is my number one tip? This is kind of like a two-part tip really, but I wanted to give you basically what I think is like one of the easiest ways, one of the easiest tricks to kind of be able to have a consistent system for Frankenplanning, and that is to be able to use dividers and use dividers purposefully. So one of my previous videos, I really was talking about organizing dividers, but this is kind of the how-to of Frankenplanning and really why I need to be able to organize dividers in a way that makes sense. I am going to do it with basically these two planners, but I'm going to set up a hypothetical planner here, but this is what I do with all of my planners. What I do at the very beginning of like setting up a Frankenplanner for the year, or in fact just setting up a single planner for the year, is I make a conscious decision to be able to use the same set of dividers for the entire year. Now for these planners, I really only have May through December. And so what I'm going to do first of all is clear out the May and June for both of these planners, and I'm going to make a decision here that I'm going to set up these two planners for 6 months. That's actually a pretty good time in the Happy Planner world. You know, about 6 months is, I feel like 6 months is a good time to stay in a single planner. Of course, I personally encourage using your entire planner, especially if you purchased it. But if you have planners that are partially outdated and only 6 months of it is current, or like I have right here 8 months that are current, then being okay with just using 6 months of it is okay too. But we're going to do it with just the 6 months here, and I'm going to set up basically two planners, two 6-month planners, and be able to combine them in a way that makes sense. Now, with my tip, again, like my tip is really about dividers. What I do is at the start of this 6-month planner, both July planners, I'm going to make a decision that this planner, which I will use for work, let's just say the monthly layout, and again, this is just hypothetical, but if I decide to use this planner for work and this planner for my food log, it could be either or. This one could be my work planner and this one could be my food log. But to me, looking at the dividers, if you look at all of these dividers, this one is like a very seasonal style, and I feel like, I don't know, that just doesn't read like a food log to me, right? They're just super cute and seasonal. I would want something like this. There's an extra like April in here. Okay, I need to move this out too. So I would want something like this for, you know, something that's kind of like something that needs some fun and seasons, right? This, on the other hand, these set of dividers are very much food oriented. So if you look at these dividers, you can see that they are all food related. So it makes perfect sense to have this be a food log. And this might not be, you know, as good of a fit for a work planner, but, you know, in terms of just being purposeful and intentional with it, this makes more sense as a food log. This makes more sense as a work planner. And so what I'm going to do is basically go through and decide that I'm going to use these dividers, all 6 of these dividers, for my work planner, and all 6 of these dividers for my food log planner. And so with that being said, one of the things and one of the benefits about Frankenplanning is that you can switch like the layouts around. So I start off in July with using this monthly layout, but I find that I actually really don't like using it for work. It's just too much space, hypothetically speaking, or like whatever. There could be a number of reasons why I decide to switch out the planner, the pages themselves, the weekly pages. And in fact, I could switch it out and use the food log, right? So let's say July, I'm going to set it up here to the top. I do try the monthly layout for work, and then for July in this planner, I will try out the food layout from the Happy Planner for my food log. And I decide that I don't like those 2 layouts. Now, of course, I can switch it out with any layout, but again, just for the purpose of demonstration here, I decide to swap them with each other. What I'm gonna do is, again, still use my divider. I've made the commitment to use all of these dividers for my work planner. So here's my work planner, and here is my food log planner, and those were the dividers for that. But I decided to switch these up. So I'm going to take this one and just set it here, and this one and set it here. Now let me show you what this looks like. This is now going to be my work planner. I have decided to use, again, the same divider, but now here's my monthly layout. Now this is one of the issues with the Frankenplanning system. Like, you might have some like mismatched items, and it just doesn't make as much sense. Like, this is, to me, fairly neutral, and I would just live with this and be able to use the monthly like this, but it gives me all the dates that I need. It just, the font doesn't really match, but personally, I would just live with that as a Frankenplanner and just maximize the space and use the monthly even with that. But then I can just go straight into using all of these pages. And for whatever reason, maybe this makes more sense to me as a work planner. It lets me categorize. Of course, I wouldn't use breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks, but I would be able to reorganize it with like my class prep, like any advising that I do, any administrative work that I need to do, and then I have space down here to like kind of take big notes for the entire week. And so maybe that just works for me. What I have to do then is essentially just live with the monthly. That's the only thing that changes out, right? Because I'm swapping out the dividers, if I could live with the monthly, I can like swap it out quite easily. Now let me show you what it looks like on the food log side. Again, I've kept the divider for the food log, but this is what the monthly looks like. This is basically the only section that looks Frankenplanned, okay? And if you're okay with living with this and just being able to use it just like this, then this switching of the dividers will make a lot of sense for you, right? So if you're okay just even looking at this, then, and I'm laughing a little bit because some people aren't, for me, I'm okay with it. I would just live with it and be okay with it. I would probably white it out and just redate it, or like, you know, put a different like August and a different 2022 just to make it, that part of it, cohesive, and like maybe white out the days of the week, but the rest of it I would be okay with, right? So if you're okay with this, this is the only part where there's like kind of a mismatch between the 2 different dividers that you're using. But then now I have for my food log like a section to kind of create a dashboard for the entire month of my food log, and then I have like all of these different pages, and I can just do it by day, right? Like, so here's the first of the month, and I can just log all the different food that I ate for the day. And so it might just make sense. Again, this is hypothetical. I mean, I can personally try every layout and adapt, but you know, you never really know until like you try it, right? But I decided that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch it all around where the dividers will, for the entire 6 months that I'm doing this planner, that match, right? The dividers will go here, this divider will go over here, but then I'm swapping the pages. So the food log pages go over here, the monthly log pages go over here. This divider stays in the correct planner, this divider stays in the correct planner. These pages are swapped, the weekly pages themselves are swapped. The dividers stay with their planner. These are swapped, right? These dividers stay together, and then these are swapped. I have a couple of extra pages in here. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Now here's the flip through of this entire planner, right? Again, 6 months worth. I thought that the monthly layout would work for me, hypothetically, and so I tried the monthly layout for July, and so of course this is going to be exactly the planner. There's nothing different about it. And then for August, I kept the same divider, But this is where I switched out the pages. And of course, again, you can switch out any pages from any planner that you have. And again, like the one difference here will be what these pages right here look like. Are you okay with the monthlies kind of being a little bit different? If you're okay with that, then you can just kind of move on and live your life, right? And be a perfectly content, happy planner, frankenplanner. Right. A lot of times, because of the way that the mismatch of the monthlies go, I tend to not use the monthlies, and I just glue those pages together, and like I don't even have to look at this, right? I could just like go straight from the divider into the weekly pages. But this is what it looks like, right? And really, again, like the only thing, I'm flipping through it kind of quickly now, but really the only thing that will be different is like this monthly page, right? And again, go ahead and like use it as is, redate it if you want to, or just don't use the monthly and just kind of glue it together and just flip straight into the monthly sections, the monthly dashboard, the weekly pages, and just use it like that, right? Again, the only thing that's going to be different is the monthly, all right? And the more I look at it, the more I see this, like, I mean, I feel like it is blendable enough that I just wouldn't worry about it. I would just leave it as is and use the monthly, use all these pages as they are intended, and just switch out the dividers, all right? Last one looks like this, okay? And again, the pages are all the same, right? So that was my 6-month planner for work. And again, I could easily substitute in other pages, right? And again, like the big difference is going to be whether you're okay with the monthly. Here's the food log. Again, the first month for July, just in this hypothetical demo, I did leave the food log in as planned, right? But then I decided to switch it up. And again, just to maximize the stuff, I did switch them here. But of course, you can switch out with other planners, things like that, right? And now it's the monthly layout. Again, the only thing that's going to be frankenplanned is going to be this section of it. It's going to look mismatched. It is frankenplanned, but this is where it doesn't blend as well, right? But then it's just going to be the monthly pages. Again, a quick flip through of it. Right, and I feel like this still works. It blends well with the movement in the Happy Planner world towards more neutral pages. I feel like even this, even though it's different, it is good enough of a match that I wouldn't be like going totally bananas just looking at it, right? It's like, again, I feel like that's okay, right? This, to me, like the more I look at it, the more it's like, that'd be totally doable for me, right? And again, like it's black, and so it will almost always go with the divider, right? And so again, like it's only this page that will be mismatched, right? And so that's the plan. Now, I did mention that there's kind of like a corollary here. One of the things I do like to do is put my Happy Planners back in the order that I use them. Like when I store pages like after the fact, like how do these planners kind of go? I know a lot of people like to put their planners back together completely. Like for example, if I broke down this Happy Planner monthly layout and use like 1 month for work and then 1 month for personal and then 1 month for like social media, even though those are like all different like purposes and different sections in my Frankenplanner, there are people who kind of like put those pages together again into the planner that they came from. Like, so this original planner would just go back as the original planner, even though it might contain different information. For me, that doesn't really work. And this is one of the reasons why I like to switch out the dividers. The reason for that is so that way when I put them back together, the dividers stay in the same order, right? So regardless of what's inside in terms of the weekly pages, the dividers themselves will stay in order. And so that way I can have my planner with the dividers in the correct position. And I know that's such a small thing to like really bother me, but I really don't like it where we have, for example, I'll just show you with July and August, right? So let's just say the July pages were the same, right? But these pages were switched, right? This is what it's supposed to look like. This is what it's supposed to like look like, right? This is the set. And I decide that for work, I'm going to use the food planner, and for my food planner, I'm going to use my monthly log. Well, now the dividers are out of order. You can even see just with these two that July is here, so August should be here, but now August is up here. And for whatever reason, that just bothers the heck out of me. You know, if of all the things, like the mismatch and all that, that doesn't bother me as much as having these dividers out of order. And so I just like to have them in order. And so that's one of the reasons why I switch around dividers. All right, now I know this video was probably kind of all over the place. Again, to me, frankenplanning is a little bit more difficult to kind of talk through, but I feel like, you know, some of the fun of frankenplanning is being able to figure it out for yourself, but also sometimes, you know, it's just really overwhelming to be able to like think about frankenplanning and like what are the pieces that you match together and like how does it all work and like what are some of the things that like tips and tricks that other people do. And so I recorded this video just kind of like my own system for like using my dividers. Again, like I feel like it might be overwhelming for frankenplanners, especially beginning frankenplanners, to get into like their own style. Definitely experiment and see what you enjoy yourself. But for me personally, I know that I have to have my dividers in order. The tabs need to go in the correct pattern. And so with that being my like primary concern, I have to pick my dividers beforehand and be purposeful and intentional about keeping my dividers in order, and the weekly pages will kind of like fill in themselves. I will just pick and choose each month for the planner that I will use, and you can see if you watch my frankenplanning videos, I do that. Every month might be a different layout on the inside, but my divider will be the same for the entire 12 months. And so I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to ask them. I love talking about frankenplanning. It is absolutely my favorite thing about the discbound system. That's why I love happy planners. I love all the different layouts of the happy planners. I like experimenting too. So if there's some way that you do it that you think would be interesting to me, I would love to hear about it so that way I can try it for myself and see if I enjoy it as well. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel, and until the next video, bye guys.